Good afternoon, you guys, and we're back. Hope you're enjoying the warm glow of the lighting. The neighbor decided to mow his grass, so we shut the garage door, and in this corner of the garage we don't have a lot of shop lights, so I got a couple lights set up here to shed some light on the subject. But we're going to be installing the wheel bearing here, and we're going to show you how to do that. It's real simple. And I had some footage of me disassembling this, and the assembly process would be the reverse of what you're going to see here. So first thing I like to do before I even get the car up in the air is I like to remove the axle nut. It's just a lot easier. You know, whenever you break the wheel nuts loose, take your 30mm on your Cavalier and take your axle nut off. Then we get it up in the air and remove the brake caliper. If you've seen the last episode, you know, you can see how that's done. We took the brake caliper apart and or not the brake caliper, but the brake assembly apart, and cleaned and lubricated the slides and everything, and that's something we're going to be doing on this side too. But anyway, let's get started. After we remove that, then, you know, of course we remove the wheel bearing, and it's only 3 bolts. It's super simple. So put that back in. You're going to need a star bit. This is a T55. We took the time to clean the bolts and everything. And on the wheel bearing, you're going to have 3 holes. Now, one hole is a little bit larger than the other 3. That's the one you have to rotate around to line up to get each individual bolt in. So without further ado, let's get started. Now on the splines, we're going to put a little. This is actually for disc brakes, but it's good to 3,000 degrees. I'm just going to touch, I mean, just a little tiny bit. I don't want this slopping around. It's basically on there just to make it easier for the wheel bearing to slide on. You don't want to go crazy with that. And initially I'm going to line that hole up. Try to line it up. Rotate that a little bit. Slide that over the axle. May need some persuasion here. Almost there. There we go. That's pretty good. We're going to take our bolt. We got the mood lighting going on. Put just a little bit of Hennessy's on there. Just a tiny bit. Nothing crazy. Feed that through. Star bit, get that started. I want to drill this down in, you know, I want to tighten it down, not all the way, but just about. And it's starting to bind up a little bit, so we're going to back that off a little. Just a little bit. There we go. A little bit more. I'm glad some of these things don't go perfect, actually, because then you see some of the things that can go on whenever you do a project like this. Rotate that to the next bolt. Get that one started. Run it down. Then we're not going to bottom it out. I want to move around slowly and gradually pull that in so it doesn't bind up. That's what started happening whenever I started tightening that one down. A little bit. Let's do a third one. I hope you can see that. There's not much on there at all. This stuff spreads out so much, you don't have to go crazy. you can see these cars are pretty easy to work on. So if you're just getting into to racing, as long as you have some basic mechanical knowledge, it can go fairly easy for you. So it's starting to line up a little bit, so we'll rotate up here, get this one in a little bit. That's looking good. It's pulling itself in there nicely. Well, we're doing good. This is almost in. There's a torque spec on this, but with a 3/8 ratchet, we tighten it good and tight. German method. Good and tight. It's good. There's no sense in going crazy on these. End up stripping the threads out of the spindle, which would be a catastrophic event. Then you gotta change that. So we go back. Just make sure that one's in. That is our wheel bearing installed, but we're not done yet. Slip our rotor on. And if you remember, I said, I like to take the axle nut off before jacking it up in the air. It makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to show you how to do this with the car in the air. So you would do this in the reverse of what you're seeing here. So put that on there. On there. Get in there. I can just get a thread or two. Oh, there's a wheel nut. There we go. Just I thought I had it. Stud. There we go. I just want to hold that rotor up against the hub. Take our washer, set that on. Start our nut. These are self-locking nuts. And then we take drift, not that one. That's a punch. That's a drift. Here, like so, and then 30mm socket. I'll take a ratchet and run it down, and this is just on there to keep the rotor flat up against the hub so it doesn't wobble around and come loose. Run this down, and these are checked every week for being tight. These axle nuts. I had one come loose one time. I don't know why, but it did come loose. You can see our drift that we put in there. It's jammed up against the caliper mount there. That's what we want. And this is moving around a lot because I have the front suspension and I had it apart, and we have a bolt in there to hold this to keep this from flopping out, but normally that would be mounted solid. And then we take our breaker bar. This requires standing. There we go. And that should be good. I will double check that once it's on the ground. Then we pull our drift out. At this point we can put the caliper back on, and this will be done. This is ready to go. We're almost track worthy. So test and tune's coming up soon, and we want to be ready for that. So this is a big step toward that. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.